नमस्कार, मी दीपक शेडगे या माझ्या यूट्यूब चॅनलवर आपणा सर्वांचं मनपूर्वक स्वागत.
फिकी म्हणजे फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन चेंबर्स ऑफ कॉमर्स अँड इंडस्ट्रीतर्फे 24 मार्च रोजी मुंबईतील वांद्रे येथील ताज लँडसेंडमध्ये मीडिया अँड एंटरटेनमेंट रिपोर्ट 2026 सादर करण्यात आला. यावेळी मीडिया अँड एंटरटेनमेंट क्षेत्रातील नामवंत उद्योजक, फिल्म प्रोडक्शन हाऊसेस, ॲडव्हर्टायझिंग एजन्सीज तसेच टेलिव्हिजन माध्यमातील अनेक तज्ज्ञ मान्यवर मंडळी उपस्थित होती. त्यावर आधारित हा एक वृत्तांत फिकीच्या सौजन्याने.
To set the context for the day, I invite Mr. Kevin Walls to deliver the welcome and industry address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow storytellers, and creators of the media and entertainment world. A very warm welcome to Sir Paul J. Foster, President and Chief Executive Officer, Global Esports Federation, and Founder and Executive Chairman. Mr. Ashish Kulkarni, Founding Director, IICT, FICCI. And Ashish Virwani, Partner, EY. And all our distinguished guests who have joined us today, making this event meaningful. Any room that brings together creators, platforms, advertisers, and a few strong opinions is always a good place to be. It's a pleasure to be here to unveil the FICCI EY Media and Entertainment Report 2026. Over the years, this report has become a definitive guide that captures where the industry stands today and where it's headed next. If I had to sum up 2025 in 3 words, it would be scale, convergence, and transformation. The industry grew to INR 2.78 trillion, outpacing GDP per capita and even surpassing last year's estimates. That tells us one thing clearly, that this industry has strong momentum and even stronger fundamentals. But the real story is not how much we are growing, it's how we are growing. Digital has emerged as the largest segment, from advertising to subscriptions to commerce. It's reshaping how content is monetized and how audiences engage with it. And yet, this is not a story of replacement. It's a story of addition. It's interesting to see how India is emerging as a multi-screen nation and market. What is particularly interesting is the resurgence of large screens. Connected TV is seeing a strong growth. At the same time, linear television, mobile, films, and even print continue to expand. And importantly, AVGC is coming into its own as a powerful growth engine, unlocking new formats of storytelling and new global opportunities for India. Together, they are not competing. They are reinforcing each other. This is a true multi-format success story. And nowhere is this more visible than in sports, which is deeply intertwined with the media and entertainment ecosystem in India. In an on-demand world, India still shows up live. In a personalized world, India still celebrates together. Sports is one of the few things that can make millions of people feel like they are in the same room, even when they are not. At GeoStar, we would like to state, sports doesn't fragment audiences. They united them just on different screens. And the report captured this beautifully. Sports isn't just content. It's a heartbeat of shared experiences in Indian media. There's a simple truth in the industry that the industry smiles about. When sports is on, group chats explode. Families renegotiate screen control, and advertisers stop asking audience where the audiences are and start asking how fast they can get in. We saw this at scale during the recently concluded ICC Men's T20 World Cup. The energy was not limited to the stadiums. It spilled into homes, phones, restaurants, offices, and also onto the streets. During the final, Jio Hotstar delivered 72.5 million concurrent streams, a global record. Which tells us one thing: when India shows up, it shows up in global scale. But this appetite for shared experiences goes far beyond sports. Cinema has had a landmark year, with over 1,900 releases and several films crossing INR 1 billion mark. Films like Durandar not only broke records, but also showed how Indian audiences still turn up in numbers for compelling content. Live experiences too are getting bigger, louder, and far more immersive. And we are just at the beginning to tap into this opportunity. And then, of course, there is the force quietly, and sometimes not so quietly, reshaping everything: artificial intelligence. AI is an enabling greater personalization, efficiency, and scale. But perhaps most importantly, it's pushing us to rethink creativity itself. We are already seeing this come to India in live productions like the Mahabharata Ek Dharmayuddha, the world's first AI-produced show, reimagining one of the world's oldest epics through new technology. It also shows how AI can amplify creativity, not just replace it. The AI and copyright are much discussed topics these days across the world. And I hope the Indian policymakers engage the creative industry and ensure that they are compensated in a fair manner. In sports as well, from the IPL to global events like the Wimbledon, fan engagement is becoming far more immersive through analytics, live streaming, and AI-driven insights. What this report makes clear is that India is no longer just one of the fastest growing media markets in the world. We are becoming a global study in how scale, diversity, and innovation can coexist. And with that comes responsibility. Firstly, to build platforms people trust, to invest in stories that matter, and to ensure that when the next big moment happens, on a field, on a screen, or on a stage, India is ready, connected, and watching together. Congratulations to FICCI and EY on yet another insightful report. Looking ahead, the industry is set to cross INR 3 trillion by 2027, which means the opportunity ahead is massive. But so is the responsibility to shape what comes next. Because in this industry, we are not just chasing growth, we are shaping culture. We are influencing conversations, and on some days, we are even deciding what the country talks about at dinner. On that note, I look forward to the conversations today and to hearing your perspectives and how we can take the industry to the next phase. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful speech. also privileged to have with us Sir Paul J. Foster, President and Chief Executive Officer, Global Esports Federation, and Founder and Executive Chairman, World Technology Group. I now invite him to deliver the special address. Let's welcome with a round of applause.
Good morning, and thank you. Namaskar. If I may say, Kevin, what a fantastic speech. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And to Kevin and Ashish, congratulations on the report as well. And to Ashish Kulkarni, thank you very much for the opportunity. And to my friend and partner, Shripad Ashtakar, Signpost and eFlag, thank you for, great to see you again this morning. It's great to be in Mumbai from Sydney and from where I'm now based in Los Angeles. So great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you. So esteemed leaders and media from media, entertainment and technology industries, good morning. It's both a privilege and, as Kevin said, a responsibility to join you here today in Mumbai, a city that has long stood at the very heart of India's creative and cultural economy. And increasingly, I agree with Kevin, at the centre of the global digital future. Allow me to begin by congratulating FICCI and EY for producing what is widely regarded as the most authoritative report on India's media and entertainment sector, a body of work that not only reflects the state of the industry, but helps shape the policy and investment decisions that will define the decade ahead. I spent 25 years in the Olympic movement, and now I find myself right in the centre of Gen Z and increasingly Gen Alpha. Earlier this year at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and later at the World Government Summit in Dubai, and later at the Olympic Winter Games in Milano Cortina in Italy, we spoke about this defining global shift. That the world is moving from innovation to impact. And nowhere is that more evident than in what we now call the orange economy. An economy driven not by extraction, but by imagination. Not by finite resources, but by creativity, culture, and intellectual capital. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are remarkable humans, and as Kevin mentioned, we have a responsibility to help them shape that digital future. This is an economy where content can become infrastructure, where culture becomes currency, and where storytelling becomes a strategic asset of nations. And if this is the orange economy, then it is undeniably so, the decade of India. A nation of incredible scale, a nation of youth, and as Kevin mentioned, a nation whose leadership has placed digital transformation, innovation, and creativity at the very center of the national agenda. But the very real question before us today is not whether India will participate in this economy, it's whether India will lead it. Over this past weekend, here in Mumbai with my colleague and friend Shripad Ashtakar at eFlag, we witnessed something remarkable. At the Global Esports Games, India stood proudly on the global stage, securing gold and bronze medals across these major titles. Demonstrating not only competitive excellence, but the depth of talent emerging from this great nation. But beyond the medals, what matters most to us is reach. These games were streamed across every single continent, from Asia to Europe, from Africa to the Americas, and in my part of the world, in Oceania. And notably, and very importantly, and we're very proud to tell you this today, we live streamed our games, our Global Esports Games, through the Los Angeles Times platform out of our headquarters in El Segundo, Los Angeles, where our global headquarters is based. Which prompts a simple but important question. If the world can watch Mumbai from Los Angeles, shouldn't the world be also watching Mumbai from Mumbai? Shouldn't India's stories, its creators, its athletes, and its culture be distributed globally at scale, owned, amplified, and monetized from within India itself? Because what we are witnessing is not just the evolution of a sector, It is, as Kevin mentioned, the convergence of industries, a $600 billion industry and huge flywheel, a convergence of sport, media, technology, gaming, entertainment, and culture. Not only operating in silos, but operating as a single integrated ecosystem. And esports sits right in the center of this convergence. More than 4 billion people globally engage with the gaming culture. In Brazil alone, 86% of the population consider themselves gamers. This is one of the largest media and cultural platforms ever created. But the true power is what lies in integration, into broadcast, into film, into music, into fashion, into education, into healthcare, into financial services, and the broader creative economy. Which brings us to the next phase. The opportunity is no longer just to participate in the global platforms, the opportunity is to build them and own them, to create the intellectual property, to control and manage the distribution, to capture the value, and to scale globally. And this is where policy, capital, and industry must align. Because the orange economy is not accidental, it is designed. And let me be very clear, at the Global Esports Federation, together with our broader ecosystem, including our work across the World Technology Group, and alongside our many strategic and commercial partners from the UN system and the Olympic movement and the commercial sectors, we see India not just simply as a market, we see India as a global hub for the orange economy. And we want to invest. We want to invest in infrastructure, we want to invest in talent and skills development, we want to invest in content, platforms, and intellectual property. And we want to invest in long-term partnerships that create value within India and scale it to the world. But more importantly, we want to invest with India, aligned with your national priorities, aligned with your policy frameworks, aligned with your shared vision for the decade ahead. Because the opportunity before us is not incremental, it's transformational. India will not just be a participant in the orange economy, India will be one of the defining global engines. And we stand ready to invest in that future. At the Global Esports Federation, we see our role as contributing to this journey. Through our 10-year strategic roadmap with India, we are committed to building pathways for digital athletes and creators, supporting skills, education and employment in the digital economy, and connecting with India's extraordinary creative ecosystem within the world. Because when India creates, the world engages. And just as Kevin said, we saw that across this last weekend. At its core, this is really about something much bigger. And as I said before, at the World Government Summit last month in Dubai, we spoke about a simple but powerful idea: to celebrate human ingenuity, the world's greatest renewable resource. Because in a world increasingly shaped by technology, it's the human creativity that defines progress. And it's imagination that drives innovation. And it's culture that connects societies. And it is that creativity that builds economies. So today, as you launch this important report, let us not simply reflect on where the industry is, let us define where it is going. Let us ensure that India is not just a participant in the orange economy, but it is indeed one of its great architects. Because the future will not be built by those who just consume content, it will be built by those who create, own, and connect content. And here in Mumbai, we see that future already taking shape. Thank you very much.
चॅनल अजूनही आपण सबस्क्राईब केलं नसेल तर जरूर ताबडतोब सबस्क्राईब करा, लाईक करा, शेअर करा आणि आपल्या अमूल्य प्रतिक्रिया दीपक शेडगे यूट्यूब चॅनलच्या इनबॉक्स मध्ये अवश्य पाठवा.